What is up, YouTube? I'm back with Against the Ropes. I'm going to cover the most recent edition of NXT 2.0. We start this night on with LA Knight. He had a funny thing beforehand. His red Lamborghini pulled up, and he stops Andre Chase and his student and tells them to watch what happens in the ring to see a teachable moment, which got me laughing. So he gets to the ring. He does his usual, yeah, and let me talk to you. Basically running Waller down, telling him to get his ass out here, let's fight, let's get to business. So when Waller finally comes out, he's basically being a coward, saying, oh, you attacked me from behind, you attacked me like a dog, blah, 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 like a normal heel would. And then pulls out a restraining order, which, okay. The funny bit is when you just see Waller going, yeah, and let me talk to you. Well, again, stupid humor, but so he eventually pulls a restraining order out saying LA Knight's not allowed within 50 feet near him. Which, come on, we know where this is going to go. That's going to eventually be lifted. They're going to have a match. Good stuff. And then basically what happens is LA Knight says, okay, this is impressive, but you either got two options. Fight me like a man or fight this guy. It was Dexter Lumis coming back. Because if you remember, Grayson Waller took him out too, kayfabe. And ultimately, it was Waller versus Lumis, which that was a pretty good match. I really enjoyed that match. Also, when the crowd saw LA Knight with the restraining order, and LA Knight's, what should I do? They were chanting, rip this shit up. Which, yeah. So Waller and Lumis was fine, like, pretty good match. And eventually, Waller had the referee distracted, and this big, large man, I believe, if I'm correct, this big, large man is known as Indus Sher. He'd be from like the Saudi Arabia shows that they do. He'd team with Veer, which Veer Mahan. Where are you, buddy? You've had vignettes since October. I don't think you're making it to Raw. But he basically attacked Lumis, threw him in the ring. Waller did his stunner, 1, 2, 3. And then Waller walks off to the bag. Oh, ha, 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 ha. And yeah. Then we get the Dusty Rhodes Classic, the Creed brothers going up against, who are they going up against? Briggs and Jensen, which, you know what? Ever since they came on to NXT, they're big dudes. They're really, really big dudes. But they don't really get booked that well. It's kind of just, they're there. So, ultimately, what happens is they have a match. They do the Creeds do their normal suplexes and their technical moves. Because they're like amateur wrestlers. You can tell by their ring gear. Malcolm Bivens is out there, which he's great. We'll get to him later. What ends up happening is Jensen ends up getting laid out by getting his head thrown into a steel. So it leaves Briggs all alone. The Creeds do this awesome suplex move, and then the clothesline. 1, 2, 3. I want to see Creed Brothers versus MSK, which I think everyone agrees with me. That's going to be a good one. And I don't really have anyone in particular. I like the Creed Brothers, but MSK going back to back, that's pretty good with me. And then Imperium's in the back doing a promo. Walter, which I'll get to that at the end, is pretty much saying, oh my God, you guys are the best. You guys are going to be the champs, and we're going to rule. Nothing really whatevs next. Then we get to Dante Chen versus Guru Raj, which went about a minute. And then returning Duke Hudson, who wasn't seen since War Games, since having his head shaved by Cameron Grimes. Comes out, beats them up both, says I'm back. Meh. That's what I thought. Then we get to Gacy and Joe Harlan. Joe Gacy and Harlan in the back. They're basically talking about how Gacy's disappointed they didn't make it, but it's okay because they're gonna work through things. Because Harlan literally kills anybody that looks at him. Odyssey walks up and basically says, "Yeah, bro, you're full of crap, and I'm still injured, and I'll be back in a couple weeks." So they walks off. Well, Joe Gacy actually held the door open for him, which is meh. I don't kind of laughed. Had a lot of laughs this evening, but yeah. Braun Breaker's in the back. He's being interviewed. He's pretty much saying, "Yeah, the NXT championship, winning the NXT championship is sunk in. I feel like a champ, ready to take on all comers." Elektra Lopez walks up. She starts talking. He's like, "Don't want to hear it," which leads to Santos Escobar coming up. And he's basically saying, "Yeah, no. You may not want nothing from her, but he's basically looking to challenge for the NXT championship." And Braun's basically saying, "What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do to get me going?" Which, again, get to that in a bit because it was pretty funny. And then, yet again, we get Solo Sikoa promo, which, if you don't know, he had a match with Boa last week, and it ended in a no contest because they ended up fighting too much, and what ended up happening is he was pretty much got a fireball in his face. So he basically said, "Bring your whatever guy you want, Boa. Next week, I'm going to murder you." And they're pretty much going to have a no count out, no disqualification match, basically, until someone's dead. Which, I'm good with that. Is what it is. Yeah. Then we get to Tony D'Angelo. Some memorial celebration. Which, okay, he basically runs down Pete Dunne, basically saying that he was a nobody. He was basically a piece of trash. He was a pig-head, stubborn man, and that he had to teach him a hard lesson because they were beefing, so, yeah. And then he basically started talking about wanting to be the North American champion, which brought out Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams, Carmelo basically says, "Good for you, but you're talking about my business. Don't keep my name in your mouth." Basically tell him to watch himself. And that he's the A champion. And then Trick Williams says, "I thought we were boys." Do you really know? Do you know what he says? Do you really know what he says? He says, well, first Tony says, "Partners, maybe. Boys, nah. I already got my boys." Let me read this to you. He had like Jerry the Hat, Sammy Shark, Petty Groin, JT the Brick. And Trick comes back and says, "You may have your boys, Mo, Larry, Curly, but they're skinny like Vic Joseph." I died so hard. I love him. Please do something good with him. Yeah. Got me going. And then ultimately that led Cameron Grimes to come out basically saying, I want the North American Championship. I don't care who I have to go through to get it. Which ultimately leads to a matchup for next week set up. Cameron Grimes versus Tony D'Angelo. The winner faces Carmelo Hayes for the title. So after Cameron gets in the ring, Tony tries jumping him, misses. Cameron grabs the pitcher, whacks him over the head, and Tony's just sitting there like. And eventually that skit walks done. I found it pretty funny. I'd go to my way to watch it. Trust me. And then Briggs Jensen segment. Oh my God, we're so disappointed. Two girls walk up. Yeah, let's go to a bar. Yeah, bruh. Okay, cool. Yeah. Not a whole lot there. Yeah. And then we get to Kaylee Ray versus Ivy Nile. Another time in a mind member. Good match. Both good wrestlers. And ended up being Kaylee Ray's distracted by Mandy Rose, who Mandy Rose and Kaylee Ray are feuding. Because if you don't know, last week, Kaylee Ray destroyed Mandy Rose's photo shoot. Ivy Nile, the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, rolls her up 1, 2, 3. After the match, all of Toxic Attraction beats up Kaylee Ray. And then Indy Hartwell and Persia Parada come out for the save. Which, again, sets up a 6-woman tag for next week. And then we kind of see what happened to Odyssey Jones, because you see in the back where Odyssey's on the ground. Oh my God, my knee. And Harlan is just like standing over him with his crutch, which, again, ties into his character. Yeah. So we're probably going to get Harlan versus Odyssey Jones when he's back, or Joe Gacy versus Odyssey Jones. I'm good with that. That's good with me. Yeah, next. A Saray promo. She's basically talking about how she's coming back from her country. She's been gone for a while. Coming to an NXT, no big deal. And then we get another Dusty Cup Classic match. It's Legado del Fantasma versus Malik Blade and Iran. I don't know how to pronounce his partner. Fine. Match went a couple minutes. Santos gets involved, pulls the guy's leg, and referee obviously saw it. Ref's like, bruh, what are you doing? And then he's just trying to go like, and then for some reason he gets on the ropes when his team is making the cover, and then what you see is Braun Breaker from behind sweep his leg out, have him on his shoulders like a little baby, and just like walk off. His partners get distracted. Oh my God, what is going on? And Malik Blade rolls him up for the most devastating move in all of sports entertainment, 1, 2, 3. That's a nice surprise, but unfortunately for these guys, you're not making it past the next round. I think they have the Creed brothers next. I'm not 100% sure, but so far I'm liking what I'm seeing. And I'm still sticking with MSK versus the Creed brothers next week. and I was mistaken. Oh, Malcolm Bivens does a promo basically saying, yeah, we are 2 for 2 tonight. We're going to go 3 for 3 and shut Walter up. And Roddy Strong is basically saying he's not scared. And then we get Dakota Kai against, I don't really know this girl's name. It's kind of a enhancement talent. They had a promo in the back where this girl and her partner were talking about the Dusty Cup Classic, talking about how they're going to enter. Oh my God, we're going to win because the women's one starts in February. And Dakota Kai is like, yeah, don't touch that partner. And she kind of has a split personality gimmick, which ultimately led into a match. Dakota Kai won in about a few minutes, beat him up afterwards, and the team chased her off in the end. Raquel Gonzalez eventually does a promo, basically upset her, lost the title, and not before long, Cora Jade comes up, basically saying the same thing. They talk about the Dusty Cup Classic, and Raquel basically reminds her, if it wasn't for you, I'd be champion. And then we get to the main event. And boy, oh boy, that was a main event. Walter versus Roderick Strong. Because if you don't know, on NXT exclusive the other day, Bivens was running his mouth, and then Walter comes up. Bivens like, oh yeah, you work out. Oh my God, you were the best. Don't hurt me. Walter picks him up, scares him. Roddy gets in his face, kind of sets it up. These two guys, at one point, Roddy delivered the strongest chop. You can literally hear it echo. Walter did the same thing. And that top rope superplex by Roddy to Walter, my God. It was just one hell of a match. I go out my way and watch it. Please do it. Eventually, Walter gets the upper hand, hits the big power bomb. 1, 2, 3, Walter's your winner. I'd say a really good match. Check it out. I'm glad to see Walter on NXT. And then afterwards, he cuts a promo saying he has a name change. Gunther. No. Walter. WWE, come on. Come on. Imperium basically beats up Roderick Strong. Creed Brothers come out. Diamond Mine and Imperium brawl, and that's how NXT ends. I'd say a lot of new stories. You're building a lot of new stories on NXT, but you have a stupid name change for Walter when he doesn't need one. No one's calling him Gunther. They're going to call him Walter. You're going to hear chants all over the place. And you better not screw him up on the main roster. Please don't. But yeah, I'm excited for Carmelo Hayes. I'm excited for Trick Williams, who had a lot of good bits. And I've also forgot at some point during that match, Walter grabs Bivens, and Bivens is screaming like a little girl. It's great. Go out of your way to watch it. But yeah, a lot of new stories, a lot of good things that will happen. I'm excited for next week. More Dusty Classic matchups. I believe it's the Grizzled Young Veterans against... Who's that team? Grizzled Young Veterans are going to be going one-on-one. Well, no. They're basically competing next week. I believe MSK. I believe they're facing MSK. And I believe... what's his name? Andre Chase and his student are facing Jacket Time. Or it might be the other way around. I'm not sure. But either way, it's going to be another interesting show. Stay tuned. Please leave a like and subscribe. And as always, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Because that's all you got to do.